Today on Tricrow Studios, we take a look at the Fender Ashtray bridge cover. So here is the Fender bridge cover. A lot of people call it the Ashtray. This is found on like a lot of vintage or vintage style Fender Stratocasters, Telecasters. I even think they made them on like Jazz Masters and Jaguars and stuff like that. We're going to take a look at kind of what it is, what it can do, and we'll take a look at why it actually exists. So first and foremost, let's take a look at why this actually exists. So when the Fender Stratocaster, even Telecaster, were released, the tremolo system, or the bridge system on the Telecaster, they were generally kind of recognized and viewed as an eyesore. And that's in comparison to like a Les Paul tunematic bridge, the lightning bar wraparound bridge, the compensated wraparound bridge, the Bigsby's found on Gretsch guitars, and even the tremolo system that's found on the Jazz Masters or this Jazz Tele here. So if you look at those in comparison to the synchronized tremolo system here, which has 6 screws here, all of your individual saddles, which have 6 screws in the back to, of course, adjust your intonation. And then you have all of the saddles, which are individually adjustable for height. So there's a lot of screws when you look at that. So they considered it an eyesore, so that's why we have this. You can place that right on top, and it clicks into place. And this kind of gives it more of like an, not back then, but what we consider now like an old school car type of a vibe. So why do they call this the Ashtray? Well, it's very simple. A lot of people, when you actually place it on and begin to play, it kind of alters where your hand is placed. And if you're trying to play something that's got like palm muting, it can be a little uncomfortable. So a lot of people did not use it. They instead took it out, flipped it around, and when they smoked their cigarettes or whatever else they smoked, they would place this on a table and it actually cups the ashes. So that's why it is referred to an ashtray. It's another reason why, because it wasn't widely used, and it was widely used as an ashtray, people just kind of forgot about them and lost them. So you don't find a lot of vintage Strats or even Telecasters or whatever that come with their original bridge plates covers. So does this actually fit on all of the different Stratocasters? Very simply, no. This is actually designed to click into place with the old school designs. So basically, when you're looking at the bridge, there's this part that kind of comes up where you would actually put in your tremolo arm, and that's how it kind of clicks into place. So let's try this out very quickly on some more modern Strats. So all of my Strats are actually the same. They're all the 2-screw. So I only have to try it on one. So this is the 75th anniversary commemorative Stratocaster here. So if you look, you'll actually see that the bottom of the tremolo actually goes all the way past where the tremolo arm screws in. So it actually does not fit, definitely will not click into place. Now I'm sure there's other designs or other manufacturers that have made these covers that will fit those Strats, but the regular Fender one just doesn't do it. Now, does this actually affect your palm muting? I find that it does, that's for sure. When you're palm muting, generally, you're palm muting to about the height of the strings, which is very important because the angle that you keep your palm on the bridge itself can drastically affect the sound. Also, it's extremely important as to where your palm sits for the sound and everything, and where you're striking the strings. So if I actually place this on here, my hand is generally either pushed right up against to the bridge cover, which is uncomfortable, especially if you're kind of digging in. It's going to start scratching up your hand, not drastically, but it's going to be something that's noticeable. And it alters where you are digging in. So your palm is going to be sitting right over the bridge pickup, and then you're going to be striking right around where the middle pickup is. That's going to really drastically affect the sound and where you're digging in. And of course, that angle means you're going to be picking in a little deeper. So let's take a listen to what it sounds like with it off and then on. Now, does this affect regular playing? Let's place it on here. If you're just like a strummer, I shouldn't say just a strummer, but if you are a strummer, perhaps you keep your hand not on the bridge, but you're moving your hand around and everything like that. This still has the same thing. So because that this is like it's raised up higher, it's higher than where your strings are, you're naturally going to want to try and avoid hitting it, whereas the bridge sits kind of flush with the strings, so you're not really going to have to worry about hitting it. And again, because of that, you're going to alter where you're hitting because you don't want to start hitting your palm onto it. So where you're striking the strings begins to change naturally, whereas you can kind of just strike in between the bridge pickup and the middle pickup. If you're actually going to use the bridge cover, you basically start moving it forward so you're striking in between or right on the middle pickup and then in between the middle and the neck. So the last thing I want to talk about, because a lot of people have asked me since I've gotten this guitar, and in the past, if I've owned one of these, which I never have, is there something that you can do with it? Like, is there anything special that you can do with this? And one thing that I've always thought of was likening it to a Gretsch that has the muting system, or the mute pad, or the muffle pad, whatever you want to call it. So the thing that people don't really like on some of the older Gretches, so basically there's this little lever here that if you lift it up, it brings up this little foam pad and it's a tune, but it muffles the strings. So if you're playing maybe like some surf music where there's a lot of tremolo or what have you, or just light picking, it will do the muting for you. So if you have a small cloth, like an iPhone polish cloth or something like that, or a small piece of foam, what you can do is you can place it over the tremolo, making sure that it's actually touching the strings, and then it's not the easiest thing in the world to do, but push it down so it locks into place. And yes, doing that face helps. And it'll actually mute the strings for you. There we go. It's not easy to do. But let's take a listen to what it sounds like without it and then with it, muting the strings. So that in a nutshell is the Fender bridge cover, the ashtray, the thing that a lot of people lose because they don't use it unless they're smoking. Do I think it's worth it? I really enjoy the fact that I own it because it's a part of history, right? But I mean, I'm not a smoker, so it's not going to be used as an ashtray, and I don't like using it on the guitar. So to me, it's not a worthwhile accessory. Now, there's a lot of people that actually do use it to kind of train their hand, because you do have that muscle memory, right? So it kind of trains your hand to kind of sit at a different angle, and it also forces your hand to come forward. So if that's something that you're looking for and you're playing, and you're just finding that, you know what, I'm palming, muting, or I'm striking at a different angle, this can help your hand actually train that. But to me, that's not something that I would do. But hey, it can be a weird conversation starter. Thanks for watching.